Welcome to Two Across, the podcast where two friends sitting on opposite sides of the Atlantic catch up over a crossword. I'm Theo in London.
And I'm Rob Cole, sweltering in La Conception, Quebec.
Now, before I ask you a bit more detail on your location, Rob, listeners will have noticed a slight change in our theme this week. So, Rob, tell us a bit more about what that is.
Thank you, Theo. So what you will have just been hearing is a little excerpt of a song called I Be the King, which is off of an EP that my London band just put out. The band's called Lost FM, Lost FM. And we released that last week. So that's on Spotify and all the other major platforms, and might play a little longer version of it at the end of the episode, but wanted to put that in listeners' ears if you're into modern indie type music, indie rock. We've got a couple of EPs out. We just sort of put 3-song EPs out every year or so as we get things going. We're a distance collaboration now. Actually, like our podcast, we're a trans-Canadian or transatlantic, collaboration, because we have 2 members from Canada and 2 members from the UK. Nice. I'm pretty happy with how that turned out. And if listeners are interested, go ahead and give that a look on your favorite streaming platform, Lost FM.
Your creative output is dominated by transatlantic collaboration, Rob.
It is indeed. That's my milieu.
I like it. Anyone who listened last week will know that you are on writer's retreat. But yeah, tell us more now that you're into it, in the middle of it.
So this was something that I started doing a couple of months ago. And as I said in the last pod, kind of at your urging, actually, Theo, or following your inspiration from the Write Club that you talked about in the last pod. I joined just sort of a Wednesday night writers group that I found on Meetup. I think that app exists in the UK as well. Really sort of looking for an excuse to just force myself to sit down and write a bit and meet some like-minded people. And both those objectives were met. Long and short, earlier this year, someone put an email out and said, hey, we're doing an annual retreat in June. Anyone interested? And I thought, that kind of sounds nice. And it fit the schedule. And so I got familial or wifely permission to do it. And so I've been looking forward to it for a while. It's basically the setup is a week in a large house up north. That's kind of how things are in Canada. When you want to get out of the city and you want to get somewhere with lots of space, you just go north. And so I'm about 2 hours north of Montreal in a place called La Conception, which is on the Red River near Mont Tremblant, which people may have heard of. It's a pretty well-known ski resort in eastern Canada. And there's 5 of us. There's supposed to be 6, but one of them got COVID. We each have a room with a desk at it. We have group writing time in the mornings, and then we have solo writing time in the afternoons. And then there's different workshops. One of the guys who's here teaches creative writing, and other people have different interests and have led workshops on different things. So it's been just sort of just a collaboration in a space where people can pursue their writing kind of in concert, but independently. So it's been a nice experience.
Great.
This is the last day, and tomorrow I head back down to the swelter of Montreal.
Yeah, because Montreal really is sweltering at the moment, isn't it? Something like mid-30s or even high 30s.
I think what we call the temperature with humidex was 42, so that's when you account for the humidity effect in Montreal yesterday. It's pretty hot up here too. So,
wow.
Yeah.
And is the writing similarly sweltering, Rob? Are you?
Oh, absolutely. I'm blazing my way through great fiction. It's interesting. It's I think taking the occasion to give yourself whole days and days in a row to work at something. It sort of eventually flips a switch and you get out of work brain mode, and then the brain sort of moves over into another siding, I suppose, or another rail line, and all of a sudden your subconscious starts sort of spinning a lot faster. And so that's been really interesting. And I feel like some momentum's been gained, so we'll see. I mean, for me, this is very much an exercise in learning how to approach this and learning how to, try and write. And part of it, I think a lot of it is just giving yourself permission to try something. So that's kind of
definitely
an extension of that.
There's something as well about this stage of life where your routine is kind of dominated by children, by the school drop off and pick up, and that kind of quite sort of strict rota that you're on day to day, that sometimes the only way to kind of really get the creativity flowing is to take yourself out of that completely even just for a couple of days and just fully commit yourself to that sort of thinking space, because it's just so hard to do that the rest of the time, or certainly I find.
Yeah, I completely agree. It's really difficult, and it's really nice to have that space because it's very hard. You have to carve it out, and you have to really protect it jealously, but it's really good to have it because I think it's important to allow space for the different threads of your own life to continue to move forward as the demands of parenthood and workhood and so forth ramp up in your sort of middle years, or early to middle years. So yeah.
Nice. Well, I wish you well with it.
Thanks. And you Theo, what's going on? What's shaken? Last week we had you in a beanie shivering in your living room.
Yeah. And today I'm in a t-shirt.
Yeah, so I see that.
It's all changed. We seem to be now summer has finally arrived in the UK. So that's been nice, and it's that sort of balmy early 20s kind of temperature. So which is about my comfort zone. I grew up in the northeast, where a heat wave was something in the region of 21 or 22 degrees. So I don't cope well with very hot temperatures, and this is about right for me. So I've been enjoying that. We had a very exciting weekend. As I mentioned last time, my daughter was whisked off on Saturday to see her pop idol Taylor Swift in concert in Liverpool, which really lived up to the billing, I have to say. And she had a wonderful time with Kate, my wife, and she made friendship bracelets and sang her heart out for pretty much 3.5 hours straight. Kate said one of the funny things was when she sort of looked at her just to enjoy how much she was taking in, my daughter would have this very serious expression on her face, like she was in kind of reverie. It wasn't sort of all smiles and joy and sparkles. It was real sort of intense, hanging on every lyric sort of concentration, which I think is perfect. I was really pleased to hear that, because I think it's really speaking to her, and obviously to lots and lots of other people at the moment as well. So that was great. And then the day after that, it was my turn for a treat, because I got to go to The Rest Is History live at Hampton Court Palace. So Tom Holland is in some ways my Taylor Swift. So I got to bask in the wisdom of Mr. Holland and his co-presenter Dominic Sandbrook, who, as any listeners of that podcast will know, have a really good sort of repartee and tell countless historical stories in very entertaining ways on that podcast. And at Hampton Court, they were, of course, focused on the Tudors.
Yep. They
told the story of the Tudors through 6 executions, which was, it was good fun. And there were about 3,000 people there. So,
wow,
an awful lot of middle-aged dad energy in that space. It was like Woodstock for 45-year-olds,
Oh, man.
So that was really fun. And even though it did mean I had to miss England's opening game in the Euros, so sacrifices were made.
Another slightly insipid affair, and we shouldn't get too much into football talk because we're probably going to bore half of our listeners. Sure. Yeah, I did watch it. I carved out a little bit of time out of my writing retreat, and I sat and watched England and Serbia kind of duke it out to a very listless finish.
Yeah. I was just going to say I was quite relieved not to have had to sit through the entire 90 minutes, that I just watched the highlights later on.
That's all you needed. You did not need any more than that, for sure. So should we jump into the business at hand?
Yes, exactly. Let's dive in.
So I'm going to give the listeners a quick background on how we do this and what we do for the uninitiated and for our new listeners. So today we are in episode 24, and we are going to do Guardian Quick Crossword 16,887. So this is how this works. We go online, we take the Guardian Quick Crossword of the day, and we attempt to solve it. You can solve it along with us, play along by going onto the web, looking for Guardian Quick Crossword 16,887. and follow along, or we try to do our best to make the clues accessible to listeners so that you can just play along while you're doing your dishes, walking your dog, or whatever it is you do as you listen to the pod. We give ourselves 30 minutes on the timer, and at the end of the 30 minutes, we inevitably fail, and then we do a debrief on that failure, and that's kind of how it goes. So, yeah, should we set that timer?
And our scores are currently in deficit for the first time in a while. We're now, I think, 12-11 down against the crossword setter. So
correct.
It's all on the line today because we want to keep in touch.
Yeah, we've been overconfident of late, and we've been indulging ourselves in flights of fancy and so forth. I think today is game face. We've got to get ourselves back to level ground.
Yeah. Channel the spirit of Gareth Southgate to drag ourselves over that line. Right. So let's dive in. And the only other thing to say on the sort of rules front is that we always go in blind and we don't see any clues in advance. So
well, Theo doesn't. I solve the crossword ahead of time, and yeah.
Yeah, it's true. Whether both of us are sticky to it. Right. Clue 1. Should we just go in with, seeing as there's a 1 across, we start with that. And it is, oh, nice. This is a nicely apocalyptic opener. It's that which follows a catastrophe. 9 letters.
Well, pride goeth before the fall. What follows the fall?
Oh, I've started the timer, by the way. 30 minutes. So my initial guess on this one is aftermath.
Oh, yeah. That's good.
Yeah?
That's very good. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Let's see. Let's just see really quickly before we want to put anything in. Yeah, I think that works because 2 down is a pointy-eared Roman creature of the woods who is also a favorite of Debussy and C.S. Lewis.
The humble fawn.
The humble fawn. Okay, so I think we're good there.
Great. Strong start.
Currency of Germany, just to confirm, 4 letters, presumably starting with E if it is aftermath. Geez, currency of Germany's.
Euro.
Come on, Theo, you had to drag that out a little longer.
Sorry. Do you know what? I was honestly just so thrilled to actually get one of those. Anything vaguely geographical is normally firmly your territory. So I was pleased just to... And I was, of course, initially thinking, what was there before the euro? What was the old German currency, which was the mark, actually, which would work?
It would work, actually, and then it would have messed up aftermath. So it's just as well that we got aftermath before. We probably would have engaged in a pointless debate. So should we just keep taking the downs that aftermath are giving us, because it is being quite magnanimous. If we look at 4 down, it's in submissive manner, presumably starting with M, because I think we've confirmed aftermath. In submissive manner, and that's 6 letters, starting with the letter M, as in milkshake.
So I have a guess for this one, which you probably do as well.
And
meekly.
Yeah, I think meekly works. Yeah. Is meek the meek? Are the meek double E or are they EA? I wrote it double E, but...
Double E is definitely double E. I'm just thinking it could also be modest.
But it's in a way, I think, isn't it? It's in submissive manner, so it would be modestly. Yeah. So I think you're right. I think meekly is good.
All right.
Oh, an early film with sound. Sorry, I'm just moving along. 5 down, 6 letters long, starting with T, an early film with sound. Now, Theo, you are the arts journalist, so what would that be called?
Well, as oft referenced in Singing in the Rain, the classic film about these kinds of films, it's a talkie.
A talkie. Nice. Okay, good.
Oh my God, the talkies. That was a clip from Singing in the Rain, just played there.
Yeah, you really are incredibly fast with these. One day you're going to have to show me how you do this.
I never share my secrets. Right. So this we now have 9 across.
Yeah.
We have every letter that we're going to get in this one. So hopefully we're going to be able to now easily crack the clue. Periodical published once each in spring, summer, autumn and winter. 9 letters,
Yes.
which is, of course, a...
Well, it's space U, space R, space E, space L, space, just to give our listeners the dimensions of the problem. And given that a second letter is U, it suggests a first letter of Q, and then it becomes fairly
accordingly.
self-evident.
So this has also highlighted that I can't spell fawn because I put F-A-W-N. I didn't have to give that away, Rob. I didn't have to say that, but I've chosen to embarrass myself there. I put fawn with a W, so clearly that.
It's important to own that. But of course, fawning,
Exactly.
Maybe to be fawning is to act like a fawn. Do fawns act that way? Are they sort of desperate and clingy?
That's a good question. We need Henry back on the show to tell us.
I found Mr. Tumnus to be quite stoic. I didn't find him to be fawning at all.
No, actually, Mr. Tumnus, who is probably the most famous fawn in literature, is, he's quite a sort of, I think he's quite a complicated character, personally.
Yeah, I think so. You can see the conflict in him.
Yeah.
Much like Luke did with Darth Vader.
Indeed, yes. So, talking of Star Wars, people often say my dog, Zeus, who again is lying faithfully by my side, say he's a grey and white Shih Tzu, and people often tell me he looks like an Ewok. And
he does look a lot like an Ewok.
Maybe I can post a photo of him on the Twitter feed, add to a crosspod, so people can judge for themselves.
Good plug. I think if you're going to do that, you should get one of those kind of like burlap headdresses that the Ewoks wear and put it on him.
Yes, maybe next Halloween that can be Zeus's costume. Okay, so we're getting well here, Rob. We've got the whole top left corner pretty much sewn up, and we're on 23 minutes
But again,
left.
like England, who scored in the first 15 minutes of the game, let us avoid repeating what they did with the rest of their game.
We've got to keep banging in the goals.
Yep.
So 13 across is interweave, 5 letters, and we have, again, we don't have all the letters we're going to get, but we have 2 of them, which is a second letter of L and a 4th letter of I.
Correct. 5 letters long.
Interweave. Oh, I think I have a guess. And again, it's an interesting spelling one because it's plat.
Oh, very nice. Yes.
Because it's plat is P-L-A-I-T, isn't it? Not double T, like the footballer.
Yes, and no one here would have a clue in North America what that means, because that is a very British word. I only know it because my mum would talk about the plaits that her nan would put in her hair before she went to school. So
what are they called there then?
Braids.
Oh, interesting. Yeah. Okay. Well, another hair-related term that has become ubiquitous here, having never been a thing when I was younger, is the bang. So the bangs as a word for a fringe, which just doesn't make any sense at all as far as I can see. But kids now talk about having bangs rather than having a fringe, which is it's quite sad. I wonder if plat is headed for a similar fate.
It feels quaint in the way that quaint things eventually disappear, like the word gay, although that was for a different reason. But
True. Meanings change, and
then words,
I hope that my correct spelling of plat has somehow been, provided redemption for my failure to spell fawn.
I think so. I don't know that I would have spelt plat that way. I might have gone for P-L-A-T-T-E. So I don't think that I would have gotten this easily.
Rob, this is exciting. For the first time in about 3 episodes, we have an excuse to play our anagram klaxon.
Amazing. I noticed that we haven't had an anagram in ages. All right, what is it? We haven't had
an anagram in ages, and now we've got a good one. It's 13 down.
13 down.
And it's 5 letters, and we know the first letter is P. And the anagram is Loper.
Okay, so there's a few... It could be a polar, but... like someone who punts in the.
Oh yeah.
But
Oh yeah.
I don't love it.
Well, you could also have prole, Prole,
You could too.
like a member of the proletariat.
Yes.
So that would be an interesting one, wouldn't it?
Well, we've got 15 across, edible sticks, which is 6 letters long, ending in Y, and it's either going to have an O or an R before. I like your prole better than I like my polar, which is a borderline word.
Okay.
But then if an edible sticks...
I've got a guess.
Go for
It sounds like you have a guess. Do you want to?
No, I don't actually.
No?
So no.
I don't know if this quite works,
Okay.
but my guess is jerky.
Yeah, but then I know won't fit. That's good. But
It
won't
doesn't fit, does it? Because obviously there's an R towards... Oh, you idiot, Theo. Sorry.
No. That would have been really nice, though.
Mm.
It could be hickory. Like hickory
That's
sticks.
nice.
Because
Is that a
aren't hickory.
single K?
I think it's a C. Like chicory, but without the C.
Interesting. Hickory sticks. I like that, Rob. I like that a lot.
Wait a minute, Theo. I think it's not going to work. Because 12 down, website content aimed at grabbing attention. It is 9 letters long, and I think I know what it is. And if it is what I think it is, then it doesn't admit a hickory into our midst.
Yes, I think I know what that is as well. You say it.
Clickbait.
Clickbait, yeah. Which gives us an L in
Correct.
place of a C. So, oh, got it now. No, I have got it. It's celery.
Oh, God, we were reaching to the very depths of.
We were thinking way outside the box on that one.
That's
Yeah.
awesome. I love it when you get
Okay.
convinced that it's something really weird.
Yeah. You sort of begin to, you try and get too clever for your own good.
So your prole is correct.
Yes, I think so.
And I'm seeing it 17 across now that we've got, through clickbait and prole, we've got 2 letters on 17 across, which is supernatural. The third letter being a C, the second last letter being an L, and it's 6 letters long.
This is your territory, Rob.
It is, because I'm a massive fan of the occult.
Oh, yeah. Nice.
Yeah. And in fact, the reality is I haven't been up here writing. I've been up here sacrificing and then skimming through the entrails of a goat.
Can I just very quickly fill in 11 down, because it's one that actually we've already talked about in this episode. The clue is term time drop-off / collect routine.
Yep.
And I said this very word earlier in the episode, I think, and it's school run.
And Theo, I think this is where we would have met on that. I think,
Yeah.
probably, on the school run.
I think you're right. That was where we met
Yeah.
on those many mornings in West Dulwich, dragging our children up a certain road.
Yeah, to a certain school.
To a certain school. I miss you, Rob, on those school runs. I do.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
We have a bus now. Sort of drop the kids off, but there's something about the run where you sort of, you're like, if you time it, you'll run into so and so. If you're a little late, you will run into so and so, and then
True.
you're always hoping like, oh, I hope we do, and then you just get to have that nice chat in the morning to sort of start your day, which is really nice.
I've had the experience of parents walking past me in the morning and saying, "Oh no, I must be really late." Like, if they see me, I'm clearly like the sort of grim reaper of school drop-off dads, because I'm the marker that, you're if you're behind me, then you're definitely then you're definitely going to be late. So
It's like when you run marathons and you have those people who wear kind of the rabbit ears or something, and they're keeping an exact pace, so they're keeping the 2-hour pace or the 3-hour pace or whatever.
Yes,
If they had like a tortoise, someone with tortoise ears, that would be you.
yeah, that's me, 100%. But like the tortoise, I always get there in the end.
Yeah, exactly.
Right, 21 across. Ear dangler, ? 4 letters, L blank B blank.
Yep.
So we won't again patronize by
Luba, the famous Canadian
lube.
lube.
I suppose lube could dangle from one's ear if one was into some strange practices. I don't know.
Yeah, you've been working under a car, Theo, and a little bit had dribbled onto your ear unbeknownst to you. So
very true.
Let's not besmirch those with lube hanging off their ear.
Indeed. A similarly easy one is 25 across, which is single part of a larger group, 4 letters, U blank I blank. Yep. So again,
we had a great pitcher in Montreal whose nickname was the Big This, which is unit.
Big unit. I like that.
The Big Unit. I mean, what an awesome name for a pitcher. But the problem is unit is also a metaphor for a member of the male anatomy. So it was always kind of a bit of a funny nickname.
Either way, not a bad nickname to have, you know.
Randy Johnson was pretty happy that they picked that nickname for him. So anyway.
Just as well he wasn't Randy Unit.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
Taking the T from a cult.
Yeah.
18 down is a Moroccan stew.
Yeah.
6 letters, and I think we can agree. A tagine.
A tagine. Now, how is that spelled, Theo? Is that like Jine?
It's Tagine.
Okay, cool.
And I do have one small tagine anecdote, which I might save till the end of the show to save us time.
Fair enough. If
put a pin in it.
Yeah, because I have tagine thoughts that I would like to share with our audience as well.
Let's revisit tagine. 24 across. I'm just taking. Oh, actually no. Let's go 20 across because we've got the first 2 letters.
Yep.
This is an interesting one. Gourmand is the clue, and it's 5 letters, EA, and 3 blanks.
Yeah. Like an Epicurean or something, but I don't know.
Well, is eater too simple?
Oh yeah. No, I think it's just fine.
Yeah.
So does that mean that the popular chain of roadside restaurants from the 80s in the UK should have been called the Beef Gourmand?
Oui. The Bon Gourmand. I don't think that would have gone quite so well at the service stations of Middle England that happy eaters tended to frequent, but who knows?
Probably true. So 19 down is pager in The Guardian's love for outdated technology. Is 6 letters long, space E, and then 4 letters. And given my past as a drug dealer, I am very familiar with these, which we called in the 90s a beeper.
I was going to say beeper, then I thought, is it bleeper?
No, it's a beeper.
My other half actually still has a beeper in her work capacity.
Right.
Which quite often will go off at home in the middle of the night if she's accidentally brought it back from a shift or something. But yeah, they do it old school. I think partly because they can't rely on the phone signal.
Yeah, fair enough.
In the hospital, so, you know. Anyway, 14 down, Prate.
Yes.
Oh, it's...
So... interesting, they've tossed us 2 side-by-side anagrams of 5 letters long. So it's Prate, Prate. It starts with a T and it ends with an R. Well, sorry, it starts with a T and it tapers down to an R.
Oh, Rob, that's lovely. Beautifully done. Nice and quick. Because actually, we do have to keep an eye on the time. We've got 11 minutes and 30 seconds left.
Okay, no, we have to go. We're getting too...
Yeah.
Smug.
Too smug, yes. Too ebullient and verbose.
Like yes, and that's a perfect example of what we're doing. So let's go. 19 across, carrier.
Yes.
6 letters long, starts with B, second letter E. It's carrier. And if we think of, for instance, someone who carries a coffin at a funeral.
Indeed.
That would be
a bearer.
Yes. Okay.
Okay, we've got a double worder, which I'm always drawn to.
Yep. Shoot it up.
7 down. It's aggressive, brackets tactics,
Yep.
6 3, and the second word has a middle letter of R. And I think I have a guess.
Okay.
It's strong arm.
Yep. And I saw that the T from strong, and it is, I believe it is a T, because if we go to 8 across, which is either storyline or vegetable bed, 4 letters long, ending in T. Again, probably don't need to insult our listeners with that one.
You say that, Rob. I'm actually not seeing that.
I believe it is. Well, if we go back to the funereal terms, this is, you would buy this maybe in advance in a cemetery for later burial. You know, your whole family might have one.
Oh, I'm an idiot. Yes, plot.
Yes. Okay, yeah. Theo, 16 across, because I do want to solve this today.
Yes. We've
bug dash listening bug with an exclamation mark. It is EA and then 3 spaces and a G. So 6 letters starting in EA, ending in G. And do you have these? You don't see these so much in the UK. You do.
We do have them.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Increasing numbers, actually. Really? I think I've seen more of these in recent years than I ever saw when I was young. But that could just be because I live in a warmer part of the UK now. But maybe. Is it earwig?
I think it's an earwig.
They're quite frightening looking bugs, actually. They've got those huge pincers on them.
Yeah, I think the inspiration behind the things that are placed in Chekhov's ear in The Wrath of Khan, you know, it's those little...
Yeah. Oof.
Yeah. Terrifying. And in fact, really I think terrifying. that is at the source of my sort of hatred of earwigs when I was a kid. I thought they were just foul creatures, but I did see The Wrath of Khan at a very sensitive age, so maybe that messed me up. There you go.
I don't think I've ever seen it, Rob. There's an admission.
Oh. Good watching. It is the swashbuckling Star Trek movie where they decided to take inspiration from pirate movies, and it's actually really good.
Well, long-term listeners will know that all roads on this podcast eventually lead back to Star Trek. So
that's correct. That's correct.
I'm glad to have got another reference in this episode.
I will do hard work to steer us in the direction of a Star Trek reference.
Yeah. I did not see earwig leading us to Star Trek, but there you go. That's the wonder of 2 across. Right.
You see, wait, I've got one for you, Theo. You see them here, you see them there, you see them everywhere. Ha ha ha. And that's a lead into the clue for 24 across. Oh.
Scarlet plant. Oh, beautiful.
Is he in heaven or is he in hell? That damned infernal
Pimpernel.
Yes.
Well done. Oh, I didn't see that for a second there, but of course it is. I was thinking, is it wisteria? And in that case, all our other guesses are wrong. Right, we don't want to get caught out by a tricky.
No.
So
Pimpernel was nice to get though, because it gives us a few. I'm a little worried because I saw 6 down and I don't know what it is. Let's not get there yet. Let's see if we can take this area that Pimpernel has given us, the gift of the Pimpernel. So Theo, 23 across, 23 down, bill of fare, space E, space.
Bill of fare is a... what is it? It's like a ticket, isn't it? But I think I might need another letter on that.
I know. And
the only letter we're going to get is from 26 across, which is engine driver, 9 letters, blank E, blank R, and then 5 blanks. Engine driver. Oh, but it's question mark.
I know.
So it could be a rather opaque
correct
clue. Because an engine driver obviously implies a train driver.
Yeah. But it could also be the thing that drives the engine.
Like a piston.
Yeah, piston or a, camshaft or a boiler.
Or the fuel in the engine.
Yeah, that would be amazing too.
Petroleum.
Oh my God. No. Oh, it's petroleum. It does
fit.
oh my God, if that was it, if that were it, were that it? But then this would be amazing, by the way. If this works, I would be very, very happy. Bill of fare. Oh, there you go. Bill of fare. Could that be a menu? Because it would end in U.
Of course.
Yes.
I think it is, Rob.
Well, because it's fare, Fare, not Fair.
Yes, we should have.
Oh my
yes,
God,
you're right.
Theo. That petroleum was, I think, a crossword saver. And I'm not saying it's saved, but it's definitely...
Well, I was going to say, there's a little bit of water to go under this bridge. 22 down. Viva. 4 letters. Blank R, blank L. Not seeing it.
Yeah. What the hell is that? I mean, what even fits in there, right? Like oral, O-R-E-L, or O-R-A-L, oral. Like
Viva. It's Viva, as in when you do that thing at the end of your PhD.
Yeah, exactly.
Which is an oral exam, or like an oral presentation. Okay?
Good.
2 left. And we have 4.5 minutes.
Okay. Mechanism. Do we go for the long one? Let's go for the short one. Just to,
well, let's do both and see which comes.
Okay, so it is... Oh, no, I do know what it is. It's 10 across, ending in O, 4 letters, answer dash reflection. And reflection isn't great, but
Got it.
Yeah.
Got it. Echo.
Yeah.
Yeah?
Oh my gosh. Okay, so...
Okay, it all comes down to this. 4 minutes exactly to get mechanism dash accuracy. 9 letters. So it all comes down to this. We have 4 minutes to get mechanism dash accuracy, 9 letters. And I'm going to go through the whole thing so listeners know which letters we have. So we've got dash L, dash C, dash W, dash R, dash. Mechanism dash accuracy. Okay, so... Ooh. So I'm looking at the end. I'm thinking it must end in maybe Y?
Y, D, K.
Yeah. Okay.
N. Very unlikely to be M because I doubt it ends in worm or warm or whatever. So I would say...
I think... Oh, hang on. I'm beginning to see something here.
Let's have it.
Could it be work?
Yes.
Could it end in work? Meaning...
I think I see where you're going with this.
Do you see where I'm going with this, Rob?
I think I see where you're going with this.
Okay, I don't want to be hubristic here, but I think if this is correct, we may have nailed this week's crossword and brought our scores back to level at 12 all. Is it clockwork?
I think that works. When you said work, I think clockwork works because a clockwork mechanism and it works like clockwork, which would be accuracy. So I think we can have a good deal of confidence in clockwork.
Okay, this is huge, Rob. Again, at the risk of putting, being proud before a fall, that felt like a really nice crossword. That felt quite relatively straightforward, relatively smooth going, not too many banana skins. But is there anything on here that we're not quite sure about?
No, not even spelling. I mean, if you'd asked me to spell Pimpernel in the abstract, I might not have exactly spelt it like that, but the letters we had forced it to be that. So I don't think there's any issue with that. No, I think we're good.
Okay. Right. I'm going to stop the clock then.
I'm going to go right out on a limb and say that the get of the day, which definitely solved the crossword, was petroleum. Without that, we were swimming against the current.
I mean, props to the setter for putting a question mark there, because that immediate, and I think we've been doing these crosswords long enough now that we know when you see a question mark, you have to look sideways at the clue. And engine driver is actually a very clever clue for petroleum because obviously it does drive the engine, but your mind immediately goes towards a person driving an engine. So
correct. Like Casey Jones.
Yeah, Casey Jones. I was thinking there's some archaic word for train driver that I can't remember, but that makes sense. Okay. Should we do a check all?
Yep.
Oh, I'm going to be heartbroken if we've got something wrong here. Because
crestfallen.
That all felt really good. Crestfallen. Indeed. Okay. We are correct.
Yeah.
Play the cucaracha. Oh,
very nice.
We've set this up beautifully for the next episode.
We've set it up splendidly.
And we're genuinely not doing this deliberately, but we do seem to be always, at level pegging or thereabouts. So
which suggests that this is a stochastic process, to go back to my statistical classes, and that we basically are just simulating a very complicated coin toss for our listeners.
Yeah. True. I like that word. What was it? Stochastic.
Stochastic process.
Stochastic.
Yeah, I think that's the term. I may be completely using that wrongly, in which case I will edit it out. Because the last thing I want to do is sound stupid in front of all these people.
Absolutely.
Anyway.
You'd never catch us sounding stupid on Two Across. No way.
Yeah.
I'm still annoyed that the one episode by both my father and my mother-in-law, who are both great sort of puzzlers and wordsmiths, the one episode they've listened to is the one in which I failed to get the Daphne du Maurier novel Jamaica Inn.
Well, you didn't fail. You got it at the end. You just...
We did get there in the end, as I always remind them, but I still feel that follows me now like a dark cloud. If only they'd listened to today's episode and heard me get petroleum.
They won't do that.
Well, I don't... Sadly, I don't think they will. If you are out there listening, Dad or Jenny, hello to you both. Thank you for getting this far. And I apologise for implying that you are... one episode only listeners. Anyway, I think our joint crosswording efforts have improved.
Yeah, definitely. And I would say our teamwork as well has come to the fore.
Yeah, I think so. Now, one thing we said we would come back to at the end of the show, which we should remember to, because we quite often say that and then forget to do it. But today, we are going to do it. So one of our answers today was Tagine. And we both said we had things to share on Tagine.
And I think yours is likely to be much more interesting than mine, so I would invite you to start our Tagine roundtable.
Mine is an anecdote. You know I love an anecdote.
Yeah. Much like I love an anagram, Theo.
Indeed. So this particular anecdote pertains to a trip that I took many, many, many moons ago, before I was married, possibly the last sort of proper solo holiday I had, which was to Morocco, home of the Tagine. And I went there for, I think it was about 10 days. I had an absolutely brilliant time, apart from when I had an upset stomach on a couple of occasions, one of which was when I took a trip out to the Sahara Desert. Which was spectacular. I mean, for anyone that has seen the Sahara Desert, they will know it is truly one of the great sights of nature, especially around sunset. The sand glows orange, and we camped out in the Sahara Desert for the night, and our lovely Berber guides cooked us this tagine for our evening meal, and it was delicious with couscous and raisins, and I can't remember what else was in it, but it was good, and retired to our tents. And then about 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock in the morning, I felt that awful familiar sensation in my stomach of something has badly disagreed with me. And I sort of crawled out the tent as quietly as I could and sort of crawled to the nearest bit of what I thought was fairly vacant sand. And I deposited the entire tagine all over the orange Saharan sand, and groaned a little bit, and sort of a second lot came up, and it was, it wasn't my finest moment. And then I sort of went about attempting as best I could to kind of bury it in the sand. And then to my horror, I sort of looked up and realized that actually where I was positioned right next to the accommodation or the tent belonging to the Berbers who had just cooked said meal. And one of them, who was still awake, looked up at me and just sort of, we made eye contact, and I kind of did my best to communicate that I felt dreadfully apologetic about this situation, that the food was delicious and it was nothing at all to do with his cooking, but everything to do with my fragile English stomach. I'm not sure whether my expression communicated all of those sentiments, Rob, but I did my best and then crawled, thoroughly defeated and embarrassed, back to my tent.
And de-tagined.
And Tagine. So I've always since then had I've got to be honest, a slight aversion to couscous in any form. I just, it brings back memories for me. And, it was that classic sort of combination of both sort of, physical illness, but also acute social embarrassment, which...
Yes, both of which have steeled you against couscous in the future. That's what we here in Canada call puke association, which I guess is not exactly that in this case, because it was the other end. But that's interesting that you end on a sour note for the humble tagine, because to pour further lukewarm water on the tagine, I kind of like all food, and I think every country has such great stuff to be discovered. But for some reason, I've never warmed to the tagine, and not that I find it to be, I don't like it. It's just I find it. Most tagines I've had in my life have been vaguely tasteless. For some reason, a part of the world known for its spices and flavoring, I find most tagines are kind of like, there's not a lot going on, but everyone raves, we've got to go to get tagine. We should go to this tagine restaurant. And it's like, do we have to? Like, could we go get something that has a taste?
I mean, my issues with couscous go beyond just mere association. I do find it problematic as a sort of carrier of flavour. I think the texture's odd. I don't think it has any inherent flavour itself. It's very dense. So unless it really is suffused with an awful lot of other ingredients, it does create quite a bland dish in my experience. But
it's like the poor man's grits.
The poor man's grits. Couscous. The poor man's grits. There you go. Oh, wow.
The couscous marketing board should try that. By the way, for listeners, Zeus has placed his head on Theo's shoulder and is looking up just lovingly at Theo.
He really is.
Yeah, it really is.
My little Ewok just gazing into my eyes. There you go. You're getting a really good...
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Really good bit of Zeus action there.
Yeah, no, we got the full bass there.
I think as always, he's actually subtly expressing opinions on the podcast. He's saying to us, I agree, guys. Couscous, not great. Not my thing. Yeah. I'm more of a kibble guy.
Yeah. And BTW, good work today. Great work on petroleum, Theo.
Thanks, man. That felt good.
Yeah, that's what he's saying. It's just...
I have to say today just felt really good all round. I felt like we were in a good place. We were feeling positive. If I was the manager, I'd be coming out and giving a post-match interview that along the lines of, really proud of the lads today. They really gave it their all. They bounced back from the disappointment last time, and they showed their character.
Which could have been crippling. It could have been crippling. We were on the beginnings of a losing skid. I mean, was it 3? So we had Henry on the show, and then were we 2 or 3 that we lost in a row?
Yeah, he sort of elevated us to a stunning victory, and then we really collapsed for a couple of episodes after that. But I think we're back on track, Rob. Should we do our customary check-in on what's coming up?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, so you start, because I blathered on at the beginning. What's the next week of your life hold for you?
Well, terrifyingly for me, Kate is away from tomorrow for 4 days with her school friends, and they've been saving up for years and years to do a girls' holiday to belatedly mark their 40th birthdays. So they're all heading off to somewhere in the sun. I can't actually remember where. She's told me several times, but in sort of classic husband fashion, I've completely failed to register the information. Anyway, all I've really registered is that she's away for 4 full days, which means obviously I will be on solo parenting duties over the weekend. So I'm just hoping that my children are really in the mood to watch some fairly obscure European countries duke it out at football.
Georgia, Albania.
Yes, exactly. Those sort of fixtures. Well, we need to watch Albania because we are planning to go there in the summer.
Right.
So I'm going to have some conversation points with the locals. So if I've seen them play football, actually, I think I did see them play football. They played Italy in their first fixture, and they gave a good account of themselves. I have to say.
I think it was 1-0, wasn't it, Italy?
I think it was actually 2-1 because I think Albania did go into the lead. They scored quite early on, and then they did that thing of kind of scoring too early. So they
Yeah.
then invited Italy onto them, and they were eventually overrun. But no, they were good. So anyway, that's in my immediate concern. And then thereafter, I've got various theatre outings and rehearsals for the election, which I'm working this year at the BBC. But I might talk a bit about that in a future episode because, that's obviously looming very large on the horizon now in the UK.
It is indeed. And we keep kicking that can down the road. Maybe it's because it's almost like it's the nothing to say about it election. It's been a foregone conclusion for 2 years.
Well, the latest scandal, I don't know if you've got it over there, but the Conservatives seem to be, I mean, their election campaign is like a clown car, really, that just keeps veering. Sort of doors fall off and, wheels sort of go bouncing down the road. The latest thing is that several quite senior figures in the Conservative Party have been, I'm not sure arrested is the right word, but they've certainly been questioned by police due to some betting irregularities, whereby they've essentially put bets on the date of the election before it was called.
No.
And of course, this is all now highly suspicious.
Oh my God.
Because it turns out quite a few of them worked for the Conservative Party and clearly had insider information. So, it's not a good look, I think.
No, but it's so emblematic of, anyway, whatever. It's like this, the rampant sense of entitlement that is likely to see them booted out of office. But anyway, that's a trope that is well worn right now. So
your politics is quite interesting as well at the moment. But again, that might be a big topic for another time. But Trudeau is massively unpopular at the moment, isn't he?
He's outlived his time, and he really needs to go. I mean, everyone knows that if they contested an election now, the Liberals would lose. The problem is we're likely to go the other direction. We've got this Poilievre, I don't know how to pronounce it, Poilievre or whatever, because it sounds French, but he's not. He's from Western Canada. He's a conservative in the mold of the old Reform Party, who are just... It's not the same identity right-wing politics that you get in other countries, but it can go in that direction, and it's very strident, and it's very pro-oil. Anyway, we'll see. Yeah, definitely something we'll see. We'll keep our eyes on that space and see if there's any developments worthy of our discussion. And on my side, next week, I really don't know. A little bit of odds and ends of work. I'm going into my sort of relaxed summer, so I've intentionally not taken a lot of work. I have a little bit of work to get done, but the kids are off, and so I'm going to spend time with them. Their school ends tomorrow. And then next week is the beginning of summer holidays, which start a lot earlier than in the UK. And for listeners, we are going to be taking a break, actually, for the summer UK holidays for school. So we've got 2 across, maybe 4 weeks left before we break for our summer session. But my kids break this week. And so spend a lot of time with them, do stuff, take them to the pool, take them to go play disc golf, God knows what.
Yeah, I'm sure you'll find myriad activities. I mean, they're... As are my kids now, actually. They're a good age and old enough to do stuff with, to really go and explore and see things and do things and, do stuff together that doesn't feel like you're having to sacrifice entirely your own
joy.
Your own joy, exactly.
Yeah.
So.
No, it's cool. My kids are at an age where it's just totally fun hanging out. They want to do stuff that I want to do, and we have a lot of common interests. My daughter is already planning a bunch of stuff for us to do this summer that all sounds really fun. So, looking forward to it.
Awesome. Well, enjoy that, Rob, and also enjoy the final couple of days of your retreat.
Yes.
And make the most of that.
Thank you.
And do play us out with some more from Lost FM. You've been listening to Two Across, a podcast by Theo Bozengate and Rob Cole. Music by enthusiasts/Lost FM. Do check them out on Spotify. Thank you so much for listening. If you'd like to get in touch with us, you can on Twitter/X at 2acrosspod, all spelled out, or on Gmail, 2acrosspod@gmail.com. We do love to hear from you, so please do let us know what you're up to and how you listen to us. All right, all the best until next time. Bye-bye.
I'm not dead, but I'm through with resisting.
I'm not yet, but I'm tiring out. I'm not bled, but I'm high and I'm twisting. You get the gist. It's not new, but I'm all over this thing. It's not truth, but it has an appeal. It's not new, I'm just tired of listening. You get the drift, you get the feel. I be the king, you be the steel. I be the ghost, you get the feel. I be the deck, you be the deal. I be the king. You're not sharp, but you're young and you're glistening. It's not hard, no, we'll iron that out. Just look the part, that's the heart of the system. Eye on the distance, flow and persistence. You want the job? I be the king, you be the steel. I be the ghost, you get the feel. I be the road, you be the land. You keeping notes, you want the plan. I'll be the stooge and you be the plan. When I say shoot, do you understand?